Good evening to all the good viewers of this program, and also good afternoon, good morning, depending on whichever time you're watching our program. Allow me to share the link of this program in our Telegram page for those who want to see it live. And then that way I will also have an opportunity to click on it through YouTube on my phone and be able to uh, watch it live with you. In case if there's any kind of problems, I can solve those problems. And I'll say good afternoon, good evening to those who write in our live chat or text in our live chat. Today we have a long program, very long program. So allow me to bring up the information that we're going to share with you. Of course, as usual, when I speak in the Persian language, I have to share and emphasize on certain things more than I do in the English. And in the English language, I have to emphasize on some other aspects of the program more than I do in the Persian language, because there are some stuff that the Persian speaking community of this channel already know, and I don't need to explain it. And there are stuff that the English speaking community of this channel know, and I don't need to explain it to them. But then there's other parts that they don't know and you don't know. So I got to emphasize on that. So we're going to start with what I believe are the most important news of this week for everybody around the world. American, non-American, Middle Eastern, not Middle Eastern, Iranian, not Iranian, East Asian, Central Asian, African, wherever you're from. These are the news that are most important for you, because they're all tied together as well. The first one is from the source, it's from Iran International. As you remember, I told you Ibrahim Raisi was not the president of the Iranian people or the president of Iran. Rather, he is the president of the occupying regime that calls themselves the Islamic Republic of Iran, made by a bunch of Arabs. And this was their puppeteer president, the spokesmouth for Ayatollah Sayyid Cockroach Ali Khamenei. This was also your globalist president. There are lots and lots and lots of globalist presidents in multiple countries around this beautiful world of ours. This was one of them. And as you can see, the Iranian people are joyful, dancing, praising, laughing, handing out sweets, eating cakes, playing fireworks in the air, doing everything that they possibly can, mocking this guy's death, rejoicing over the animals that were able to feed off of this guy's blubber. But at the same time, in the United Nations, yep, you heard it right, in the United Nations, in New York, the United Nations headquarters, you see, it's right here. You all have it on your screens. On Thursday, this past Thursday, it hasn't even been a week yet since they held this program and I'm giving this program. Hasn't even been a week. They held a commemoration for Raisi. Oh, he died. And as you can see, nobody showed up. The leaders from around the world, they all know that this is not the representative of the Iranian people or the Iranian nation. This was a cancer on the Iranian nation. And his regime still is a cancer. And now that he's gone, it doesn't matter. They're going to put another puppet in his place. So this guy right here was the globalist president. That's why the globalist United Nations decided to put a program. And if you workers at the United Nations are hanging around like flies, in a room completely empty. Let that be a lesson. It's a lot to think about. How the people of a country are happy that this guy is dead, but the United Nations is sad to see the butcher of Tehran, the man who has killed hundreds of thousands. Some want to downplay it and say 30,000. What 30,000? He kills 30,000 in one day. Millions lost their life in the last protests in Iran. Millions. You think that it's over? No, they're still killing people today, right now, as we speak, on charges of going against God by protesting for the death of Mahsa Amini. Until today, they're hanging people. Millions have lost their lives. This guy was the head of the judiciary of Iran during the time Khamenei was in charge as president. That's 8 years. He was there before that too. He was the guy who signed off on the death of everybody. What 30,000? You know who tells you 30,000? IRGC. And then you get a bunch of YouTubers from Israel and a bunch of American YouTubers and some German YouTubers and some Swedish YouTubers who don't know jack shit about anything. And they come along, oh yeah, 30,000. Where'd you get that number? IRGC. The terrorist hand of Islamic Republic of Iran. How did you get it? Well, they told this guy who says he's an Iranian, but really he says he's a Kurdish, and he says that there is Iran is like a Soviet Union. Says who? Iran has always been one country. Iran is not multiple states that came together to form a country, and then you can say, well, they're like the Soviet Union or like United States of America. That's 50 different states, and they all formed together to create a country. No, Iran has always been one country, one whole country with provinces. We don't have states. We have provinces. Provinces are not states. States are not provinces. Provinces are different parts of one country. They're created so that you can govern the country easier, so that not everything goes to the main source of the country. States are different from provinces. States, each one has its own laws, its own way of thinking, its own way of acting, its own rules. But they've come together for protection to form a bigger nation. Iran is not Germany, which has different states. Iran has tribes. Tribes are not different from each other. Just like you have the 12 tribes of Judah. You don't say you have 12 Israels. Who's the donkey that will believe in 12 Israels because you have 12 tribes? That you guys fall for this, that Iran has 12 tribes. That means Iran has to have 12 different donkeys. A bunch of donkeys come along and open up a YouTube channel and tell you guys a bunch of garbage, and you guys don't know any better because no one fact-checked it. No one watched any history. No one opened a piece of book and said, okay, there's a page of a book, and let's see what's inside this page of this book. What does it say about the history of Iran? A Kurd is an Iranian. Is a tribe of Iranian. Azeri is a tribe of Iranian. Baluch is a tribe of Iranian. They're all Iranian. I mean, how ridiculous. The Kurd, when he talks in his Kurdish language, 99% of it is Persian words. His flag is the same flag. This flag. You see this flag? It's the same flag. You just took out the lion, you left the sun. Same green, white, and red. Canada has provinces. Each province has its own flag. Are you going to say that Ontario is a country of its own? And Saskatchewan is a different country? British Columbia is another country? They listen to a bunch of idiots. Those idiots are whispering the words of the IRGC. The words of the IRGC then are in your head. The next link for you. It comes from USA Today. USA Today is your newspaper, Americans. Wake up. Iran's supreme leader. Who's that? Ayatollah Khamenei. You know the guy who every Friday he has a chant, death to America. America's the big Satan. Death to America. You remember that guy? You see him on TV all the time. You see his supporters every time you turn on your CNN, your Fox, your MSNBC, hee-haws and CBCs and whatever the hell your sister's TV was. You see this guy and his followers. Oh, death to America, death to America. Then you find people like me in the street and you'll say, why do you Iranians hate us? Let me tell you, we don't. Yeah, but I saw on TV. No, you saw this guy and his people on TV. You saw the ones that commit genocide on the Iranians. You see them on TV. You see these guys on TV. And now he's writing a letter to every single university in the United States, to their student bodies, thanking them for their ongoing fight for the freedom of Palestine, the Palestine that doesn't exist. 1,400 years ago, a bunch of Arabs came into this Palestine, annihilated all of them, killed every single one of them. Not one is left to live. The original Palestinians came from the island of Crete, from Greece, to a land which the Israelis lived in, that got its name Palestine from a mountain that the Romans decided to name. The Palestinians themselves used to call themselves Phoenicians. You've seen that Phoenicia boat? Phoenicians. And then they became Berber, going into northern Africa, all the way down to Morocco. The ones that lived in Asia, Middle East, newsflash, Middle East is part of Asia. Not everyone in Asia is eyes like this. That's not what Asia means. Asia is not Japan and China and Philippines and Thailand and Vietnam. That's not Asia. Newsflash. Asia is a very big continent. It has a wide variety of people that live in it. We got white people in Central Asia. We got Indians who are darker skin in India and Southern Asia. We got Middle Easterns, who most of them are Arabs. We got Southeast Asians and West East Asians and all kinds of Asians. Not every Asian looks like a Chinese person with eyes like this. We got round eyes. We got all kinds of eyes. We got short, we got tall, we got fat, we got wide, we got skinny. You name it, we got it. It's Asia. West Asia is the Middle East. And I don't know how many times we got to tell this to people before people understand what Asia is. This guy is talking about a group of Arabs who came and took out the Phoenicians in West Asia. Later on, they chased the Berbers. They mixed with the Berbers. There's still a few Berbers left. But those are in Africa, not in Asia. The Palestine they're talking about today is supposedly in Asia, where none of these Palestinians exist anymore. It is funny that you in the West, who have all kind of education in front of you, don't know your education. The Arabs came in, every single Arab land they've taken over, they call it the Islamic Republic of Iraq, the Islamic Republic of Syria, the Islamic Republic of Palestine. And they are all Arab. They killed off everyone who lived in Assyria, and they call it Syria. They killed off all the Assyrians. You got a handful of them here and there outside of the country. A bunch of Arabs took it over. Today you go to Syria, they're all Arab. There's no more Assyrian. The Babylonians that used to live in Iraq, when Iraq was part of Iran, are gone. They're all killed. The Arabs killed them. Today you got a bunch of Arabs living there. Even Arabia is now called Saudi Arabia. This is the Saud, the Al Saud family's Arabia. Maybe they put their name on it. But Khamenei today is praising your kids. Who was the people that are at these protests? LGBTQ+, BLM, Antifa. And Khamenei can't be happier. I mean, his prophet, Pata Muhammad, was the prophet of LGBTQ. The guy was a transvestite. It's in his own hadith. It's in their books. He used to wear his 6-year-old so-called F-U-C-K-I-N-G contract. Loosely wife, because wife and, you know, if you're going to do a marriage is called is the wash. They do a nikah, which is F-U-C-K-I-N-G. It's not is the wash, which is a marriage. But they call it a marriage in English to fool you. So the girl that he did this with when he was 54 and she was 6, he would force her clothes on himself and say, if he doesn't wear it, he won't get revelation from his God, Allah. The guy was a transvestite. He used to put makeup on his eyes, like the women do. He used to color his hair, like all the crazy people do today. You see all the people that need a checkup from the neck up? All those people. You know the crazy ones I'm talking about? The ones that run around and everybody sees them and they're like, oh my God, I hope this person doesn't come near me. They're going to do something crazy. You know the crazy ones. They all know the crazy ones. They all show up at the Free Palestine. They all chant the same, from the river to the sea, we want to exterminate every Jew. You all heard of it. That's what it means. We want to exterminate every Jew between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea. Any Jew that lives there has to be exterminated. You all heard it. He's praising them. Khamenei is praising them. He's the leader of your kids today. If you have a kid and he's in university, you better take him out of the university. You better bring him home to a university near your house so that you can have control over your kid, so you can set your kid straight. Your kid is bowing down to the man who says, "Death to America." And you're sitting there paying big money to send your kid to an Ivy League university so that your kid can be directed, brainwashed, used by death to America. You see, the communists started this idea from when your kids were in daycare. Work on them, work on them, work on them, right beneath your nose. And you didn't pay any attention. Most of you got worked on right beneath your nose. You got worked on. They worked on you over time. Now the same playbook has been given to the Islamists. They send their professors here. They teach you fake knowledge. Fake. They play, with the words. They tell you one truth and then 10 lies, followed by one truth and followed by 10 lies. And your kids learn it. And they're taught to hate the country they live in. They're taught to hate the American flag, to hate the American national anthem, to hate everything about the United States. And who are they promoting? Fake countries that don't exist. A Palestine whose first president is Egyptian. What the heck? Will you accept a Chinese citizen from China to become your next president? Let's call him Hu. Mr. Hu becomes your president. I mean, he lives in Beijing, but he's going to be your president. Will you accept it? No. But you are now. Your kids accept someone who lives in Tehran. Not only does he live in Tehran, he lives underground, hides, and barely even shows his face in Tehran. But he is the main brain of all your kids today in the universe. His letter was published on Thursday, the same day that United Nations wants to hold a ceremony for Ibrahim Raisi. It's the same day his letter is published. For weeks, students on several campuses across America gathered to protest Israel, Hamas war, calling for ceasefire. Don't kill the last remaining Hamas members. I tell you, if any of you were in that area right now and it was Hamas territory in Gaza, they would skin you alive. They don't care. They don't care what your ethnicity is. You're not a Muslim. You're going to be skinned alive. Even if you're a Muslim, if you don't agree with their Islam, you're dead. A Shia Muslim cannot step foot in Gaza. They would hang him immediately. A Shia Muslim cannot step foot into Somalia. They would hang him immediately. Huh? Islam. They want to talk about Islam today. A Shia Muslim can't go to Afghanistan. They would hang him immediately. They lie to you. Oh, us Muslims are together. No, it's political. It's all about how to bring down your country and how to promote Islam throughout the world. And Islam doesn't get along with Islam. That's why the globalists love it, because the globalists have this idea of depopulation. They want go read about Agenda 2030. I mean, why would you say about me? No, go read. Go read Agenda 2030. I mean, they throw it in your face every day, but everyone's asleep. And they have comedy shows that talk about the news. And the comedy shows are there to make you laugh and forget what the news was. Then they have some people who do great work like Jesse Waters, but they don't cover the essence of what they're supposed to cover because, if they did that, they'd be fired. In his letter, Cockroach Khomeini on Thursday was talking about the broader resistant front. What resistant front are we talking about here? Resistant front. I mean, they're not going over there to fight the IDF of Israel. They're not playing the war game. No. The resistant front is here. They got to take you out. They're training your kids to hate you. They want your kids to become terrorists over here. It's promoting terrorism. It's brainwashing. They want the Abduls to be your children. He assures you that today the circumstances are changing. He assures your children, they got to change. They can't grow up with what you taught them. You taught them to respect others. He wants them to trample on others. You taught them that they should be nice. He wants them to be harsh. You taught them that they should respect their elders. He wants them to cut the throat of the elders. It's Khomeini. I mean, the guy says, death to America. What you think? He wants them to bring you flowers? He says, death to America. Who's America? You. He says death to you every week. And he wants your kids to do it. He wants an awakened global scale of truth and coming light. The guy lives in darkness, and he's talking about light. Students from dozens, not dozen, dozens of universities in the United States, in other countries, amongst academics and the general public. He's got sources. Who's general public? We've shown him to you. We've shown him to you from Michigan. We showed you the Abduls that come and they sit on a little chair. They call a member. They sit on it and they move their hands like this, like Abdul Ghani. And he goes, the soldiers of Israel, they're wearing a diaper. They're wearing a diaper. And he like a monkey dance while he's sitting there. You've seen it. You've all seen it. We've shown it to you. The videos you've seen. If you haven't seen it, go back several months ago and you'll see. Oh yeah, they're wearing diaper. And then we showed you who's wearing their diaper. It was the Hamas terrorists that have been captured alive, by the way. Khomeini also advised the students, your kids, to become familiar with the Quran. Yes, they should read the Quran. What it will tell them when you find the infidel, cut their heads off. Kill them where you find them. They should read the Quran and be familiar with it. They need to learn. They need to learn that the Christian and the Jew are the worst of all creatures. They need to learn that the Jew and the Christian are najis. They're in the same category as shit, like literal shit. Like when you go to the washroom and you do number 2, yeah, they're unclean. They need to learn that women and shit are the same. It literally says that. It says there's few instances that you have to do a major ablution so that you will not be unclean. When you touch women, when you touch shit, and when your semen comes out. When these 3 cases happen, you have to do that. That means they're equivalent of each other. That means shit and women are equal to each other. That's in the Quran. Your kids should learn that and accept it. How will your kid look at his mother or her mother? Or if you've got one of those weird kids, it, them, they, Z, God, whatever the hell they want to call themselves, is going to look at her mother. Huh? Is going to look at her mother like shit? I mean, we got to tell the truth. Sugarcoating the words will only buy these Islamics time. We don't have time. It's time to finish it. It's time to stop it. You want to preserve the United States? You want to bring the glory of the United States back? You want the United States to be strong again? You want the United States to be free again? You want the United States to be safe again? We don't have time for sugarcoating. We got to tell it as it is. I got to enlighten you. I got to use whatever I can use to give you the knowledge you need so that you can enlighten yourself and those around you. It's like a soccer team. I'm the goalie. I pass the ball back up to you guys. Whatever you do with it is up to you. You want to pass it to each other, make a play, shoot it at the net, or you want to just sit down and wait for the enemy to take the ball off of you. It's up to you. I pass the ball to you, you take it forward. We got a country to save. Khamenei advised them to go and get good with the Quran. He praises sparks swift backlash. Oh. The only ones who stand up to Khamenei are your Speaker, Mike Johnson, Republican leader of the House. His response was, when you've won the Ayatollah, you've lost America. And he's very true on that. You know, Mike Johnson's done a lot of bad stuff. He's agreed to sign a lot of stuff for Biden and passed a lot of money to go through the money laundering scheme of Ukraine war. He did a lot of that. But he's damn right when it comes to Iran. He's standing up today for Iran. He's not standing up for the Islamic Republic of Iran, that is a regime that's taken over Iran, that's holding the people hostage and committing genocide. No, he's standing up for the country of Iran, the Iranian people, and the American people, because the American people and the Iranian people are in the same boat, in the same sinking boat. Except if this was the boat and it's sinking this way and the water is up to here, the Iranians are already at the bottom here, dying, and the Americans are next. Thanks to this regime. Today you find this guy, this cockroach right here, Ali Khamenei, the death to America guy. You see him working on your students who are graduating from top universities, where your students, instead of being proud of being American, being dressed like an American, you have your students throwing scarves over their necks, portraying themselves as African countries. Newsflash, if you go to Africa dressed like you are, they will give you a kick in the butt and kick you out of the country, and they will tell you you're not a citizen of any of our countries. Get out. And they have to hold the Palestinian flag. I mean, this black guy over here, what does he have going on with the Palestinian flag? You know, if this guy right here, this black guy, if he went to Palestine today, to the Gaza Strip, they would sell him under the name Haywan, which means animal. They sell, the slavery is on until today. You just don't know. In Arab countries, on their social medias, on their buy and sells, they sell black people today. They call them Haywan. They call them animals. They sell them under the name animals to get away with it. This guy, the same guy, this guy with the Palestinian flag, if he went to Palestine today, they sell him. First thing they do is they take your passport away. Second thing they do, they abuse you, rape you, do whatever they want. And when they're done with you, they sell you. It goes on until today. It has not stopped in the Arab world. Syria, Jordan, Iraq, Kuwait, Yemen, Saudi Arabia, UAE, the precious Dubai, Qatar, Oman, Yemen, all of them. They buy and sell. They have the recruiters in Africa. They recruit the kid. They change the age on the passport. They bring in underage kids, 14 and 15 and 16 years old. They rape them in their homes. They keep them in an outhouse door with animals, literally. And then they write in their social media apps for buying and selling products. Oh, I have an animal for sale. You can come and check it out. And then they go to each other's homes and they buy. They don't bring the passport. They just buy you. And then they resell it and resell it and resell it and resell it. Age? They make up an age for you. 13 years old. Animal, 13 years old. The same guy here. But that's your kid over here. He's been brainwashed. I'm going to hold the flag. I'm going to turn my back to the program that's going on at my ceremony. I'm going to turn it. Look, look, look. All these people are facing that way. These two are facing this way. They refuse to accept their graduation ceremony in United States. They have a disdain for United States. It's brainwashed. This is the work of communism and the Islamists. The red and black flags, as we call it. The red is the Soviet communist, and the black flag of Islam, the death flag, joined together. They brainwash your kids. Instead of dressing sharp, instead of being proud, instead of knowing that they achieved something, they have to reject what they achieved. They have to reject the country they're in. The greatest country in the world that everyone is willing to give up their arms and legs for to come into, these ones are turning their face away. And they're your kids. That's the sad part. I mean, they've been blessed to be here from the day they were born. They've been blessed. This black guy here, he's been blessed all his life. He just doesn't know it. Yeah, there's hardship you can say there's a lot of hardship for black people in the United States. But you know what? That hardship in the United States is 100 million times better than the hardship around the world, especially for a black person. They got it the best, they got it over here. And yet, nobody knows. Majority of the Americans, you Americans, don't travel anywhere. If you travel within your own country. You got a big enough country. You don't need to go anywhere else. But if you did go other places, you would see, hardship is something else everywhere else. I mean, in Canada, they're still not out of the COVID lockdowns. You know why? Because now that they finally lifted the COVID lockdowns, if you don't take the jab, they freeze your accounts. You got no money. You're out on the street. And yet they talk about freedom. You got freedom here. Take the jab or not. You can still live. No one's freezing your accounts here. You don't see anyone throwing a pitchfork in the air about Canada, do you? Majority of the world is still in that kind of hardship. You got to think about the blessings you've been given being here. There's the next link from Iran International. 40% of the gas. This is coming from the IRGC, the muscle hand of the Islamic Republic of Iran, the terrorist group. This is coming from their terrorist organization. We know why they're saying this. Let's read it first and I'll explain to you why. Abdul Reza Abed, the commander of the IRGC, construction and business. Construction and business. Khatam al-Anbiya. Oh, he's talking about the Prophet of Islam. Challenge Saudi Arabian and Kuwaiti claims. I mean, the Prophet of Islam, that Khatam Muhammad, he's been dead for 1,400 years ago. Saudi Arabia is only about a 60-year-old country. Kuwait is even younger. Saudi's maybe a little older. Maybe 70. Kuwait is like 60-something. All these are countries that England and the French decided to create. Pakistan, Bangladesh, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Jordan, Syria, Iraq, Yemen, Oman. These are not countries. Half of these lands are Iranian land that they've chucked up. They'd carve it off like this and say, as if they're cutting a cake. Oh, this is mine. This is a new country. Says who? England. He says that the Prophet of Islam, Khatam al-Anbiya, Khatam al-Anbiya. Khatam means like the end. Anbiya is the prophets. The last one. He has challenged. I mean, look at their mind. These are the guys brainwashing your kids. He's talking about the last of the prophets, meaning Muhammad, Khatam Muhammad, Prophet of Islam. Challenge Saudi Arabian and Kuwaiti claims. I mean, this guy died 1,400 years ago. These countries came out 60 years ago. But the guy from 1,400 years ago is challenging the country that's just been born. What the? If there was ever a time to use the what there, this is the time for the what. Okay? On claims of the field, that Kuwaiti coast. Okay, this is the coast of Kuwait. Okay? Coast. You know what's a coast? Like literally, you can walk in the water and walk out of the water. You don't even need to swim. You just walk. It's coast. Within the territorial waters of Iran's entry into the Arash field are essentially then daily bread. Okay, and then what the heck are we talking about here? It's determined that the utilize of Iran's gas resources, Arash fields, has allowed neighboring countries like Kuwait and Saudi to start extracting from this. Remember, it was the Kuwaiti coast that we're talking. All this talk is about what? Let me make it easy for you so you don't get confused. Saudi Arabia and Kuwait, they're next to each other. They came up with an agreement that they are going to start drilling for the gas that's underneath the Persian Gulf within their own coastal waters. The two companies will join together. They will sell the gas together. The profits will be split between the two. IRGC of Iran decided they're going to stick their nose in the middle of this business that has nothing to do with their business. And they're going to claim that 60% of all of the natural gas that's in the coastal waters of Kuwait and Saudi Arabia belong to the Islamic Republic of Iran. And every time they want to say something belongs to the Islamic Republic of Iran, all of a sudden, they forget the Islamic Republic part, and Iran returns to becoming Iran. But every time the people of Iran want to use the word Iran, they become the enemies of God, and they have committed war against God. And now it all of a sudden turns into the Islamic Republic of Iran. You see, every time it comes to having the world's eyes on Islamic Republic of Iran, they drop the Islamic Republic part, and Iran becomes the villain in the eyes of the world. But every time they are inside of Iran with the Iranians and the world is not looking at it, they all of a sudden don't turn into Iran. No, they turn into the Islamic Republic of Iran. So they've decided to start a problem. The Kuwaitis and the Saudis have invited them to come down, sit down, and talk. But they say, no, 40% of this is in territorial water. The other 20% is belonging to us inside of our own water. And so therefore, 60% belongs to Iran. And 40% belongs to these guys. But where are they going to get that 40% from? Now, in here, in order to explain it to you, I gave you two pictures. The first picture, you see this blue line here with the dots around it? This is where the coastal waters of Kuwait end. So anything in here is actually Kuwaiti. Why does it finish here? Because look, Kuwait's land comes out to here. So they say anywhere from this land going down belongs to us. Saudi Arabia is right underneath it, and there's their line. So they're saying that anything down here is ours. But Kuwait is taking a little bit of the Saudi water. So they came together and they said, you know what, we'll just share. The striped area that you're looking at is areas where there's gas under the Persian Gulf, and everywhere else where you see these brown marks, that's where oil is found. This, on this side, is another picture of the Persian Gulf. You have Iran on one side. You have Iraq with a little bit. You got Kuwait right here between Iraq and Saudi. You got Saudi Arabia with a little bit more water. You got Bahrain, the island right there. You got UAE down here. You got Oman down here. And then at the bottom is Yemen. The water ends right here, okay? From there to there. Majority of this is Iranian water. But every single one of these countries has a small coastal area. The coastal area of each of these countries is legally their own water. The natural gas that we're talking about is in this border right here. It is not in the middle. It's in the coastal waters of Saudi and Kuwait. So in all reality, Saudi and Kuwait do have some of this and they could sell it. Now, long ago, for the last 40 years, Kuwait has been siphoning natural gas from the Iranian side's coastal water. And Iran, for the last 40 years, has not uttered a word about it. And if you thought Kuwait was the only one, no. UAE is doing the same thing. Iran doesn't say anything. As a matter of fact, Iran, the Islamic Republic of Iran, cuts down mountains, the big rocks of mountains, transfers it to UAE, so UAE can create more islands, man-made islands in the Persian Gulf, so that they can say they have a bigger claim of the body of water around their land as a coastal water, so they can get more claims of natural gas. And this same UAE wants all the Iranian islands in the Persian Gulf, like Kish and Tum and all the other ones, and they want to call it all theirs. But Iran's Islamic Republic of Iran doesn't give a shit, because they're all in for it. You want to destroy Iran? Sure, we'll help you. But all of a sudden now, They're jumping up and down through IRGC that, oh, this is ours. You know why they're doing all that? The whole story here is Islamic Republic of Iran is hoping and praying for more Biden years. As long as Biden comes in office, we can start a war. Because we're going to start a war, we're going to take Kuwait, which was actually our land, back. It was part of the province of Bahrain. You see, Kuwait here, the eastern side of Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Oman, and Yemen were the province of Bahrain. 250 years ago, the English decided, no, Iran can't have these lands. We're going to take it away from Iran during the Qajar dynasty, and we're going to give this to the Arabs and make them Arab lands, which at that time they lost to the Ottoman, because the Ottoman came down and took it all, since the British couldn't protect it. And then they had a bunch of World War I and World War II, in which they got these lands back and got rid of the Ottoman Empire completely, and they carved them in different lands for different countries. That's your history in a nutshell. So now they're thinking, if we have 4 more years of Biden, we can attack. They know that they can't take these countries because the United States will have to come in. I mean, you got Aramco in Saudi Arabia. The company for oil is Aramco, meaning America and Co. Arab American Co. Anyway, they know that the Americans will get pulled in. If the Americans get pulled in, we got the war in Israel going on. There's a new war between Iran and Saudi and Kuwait down here. Americans will have to get involved. If America gets involved in the Middle East, that gives a green light for China to take Taiwan. And then Russia will go after other new countries it's got its eyes on, like Norway at this point, where they want the Norway's islands in the north. Yes. So they will continue that. And this will now turn into a huge world war because Russia is now in multiple European countries. At some point, the rest of Europe will have to get involved. Some European countries have a lot of pull with African countries that abide by their rules, even though they say they're sovereign countries. Australia will eventually have to get involved. Everybody will have to get involved, and we'll have a World War III. World War III will face and help Agenda 2030, because for Agenda 2030, when most people lose their jobs because of AI, governments don't want to feed you and you sit at home doing nothing. They got to somehow get rid of you. War is a great way of getting rid of world's population in big shots, especially now that you got nukes that you can use that are better weapons than in the past. Oh, Ali's talking conspiracies. We don't want to listen to Dr. Musa. I mean, he's going to talk conspiracy. Oh, no. Just wait and see. If Trump doesn't come into power, they're heading towards Agenda 2030. Go look for Agenda 2030. Read up on Agenda 2030. Why is Klaus Schwab saying that I'm going to make it where people have nothing and they're happy about it? Huh? Read Agenda 2030. Why are they pushing for electrical cars, electrical cars, electrical cars? Pete Buttigieg is supposed to make all these electrical stations. And he keeps talking about 2030. We're going to, by 2030, we're going to do this. By 2030, we're going to do that. By 2030, we're going to do this. By 2030, we're going to do that. Everyone's sleeping. Everyone's in a sleep. Everyone's worried about P. Diddy. Did he slap his girlfriend or not? Did he have sex with men or not? Who the hell cares about P. Diddy? If they don't elect Trump, United States and the world is going to hell in a handbasket. The whole world is going down. The whole world. We're all connected. Everyone's going down. Islamic Republic of Iran already has a plan for you, America. They want to catch your sons and daughters, the ones that are Republican and are not doing the protests for Palestine. They want to bring your Republican sons and daughters down to the Middle East so that they can die in Saudi Arabia defending Saudi Arabia's oil fields and Kuwait's oil fields against the Islamic Republic of Iran. That's what they want. But, you know, unlike Fox and CNN and the rest, when I bring you the news, I also bring you some good news too. Here's another link from Iran International. A senior Iranian cleric. Oh, now all of a sudden he's Iranian. I mean, 2 days ago it was Islamic Republic of Iran. They don't like this flag, the lion and sun flag. They have to bring out their own flag. You know, the flag that looks like they copied the Sikh logo and they put it on. And around it, they write this Allah Akbar garbage of theirs. Akbar meaning bigger. But they tell you it means greater. Greatest is Azim. Akbar is bigger. Okay? Bigger, bigger. Like, for example, let me show you a good example, okay? I'm going to show you a very good example. This pen is bigger than this pen, you see? Allah is bigger. Bigger than what? Who are we comparing it to? They tell you it means Azim, but they play with the game words because you don't know the words. It's a good game. If you don't understand Arabic, and I do, I can tell you any word means anything I want. How will you dispute it? You can't. You have to accept what I say. Unless you've gone and you've checked it out yourself. And you find out, oh, that's not what it means. Then you can say, I have proof. I mean, I checked it with Ayatollah Google Translate. I put Akbar by itself, and it said bigger. And then I put Azim by itself, and it said greatest. And then you tell the guy, well, you say Allah is the greatest when you say Akbar, not Azim. Tomorrow they will go and fix it because, you know, the Islam changes with the times. But anyway, senior cleric means big time guy like Ayatollah. Here's an Ayatollah. Ayatollah is talking. Around 50,000 of Iran's 75,000 mosques are closed. Iran has a total of 75,000 mosques. 50,000 of them are closed. That's 2/3 is closed. Closed. Like no one goes in them. They put a lock on the door so that no one goes in them. The government closed it. It's done. That's 2/3. It's finished. It's wiped out. In the words of Muhammad Hijab, you're finished. You're finished, boy. You're finished. Yes, that's right. The Dawa Gendists, Muhammad Hijab, eat your heart out. 2/3 of Iran's mosques are closed. That's all the mosques. That's Shia mosques, Sunni mosques, you name it mosques. Your sisters, you know what's mosques. They're all closed. Expressing regret over the low number of engaged in worship. Ayatollah, obviously now they dropped the Ayatollah. I mean, the guy is afraid for his life. tomorrow someone will come after him. I mean, no one's following. Why would he use the title Ayatollah? Then, the people that don't go to mosque, they might come and grab him by the neck. Hey, hey, Ayatollah Muhammad Abul Qasim Dulbandi says, oh, oh, oh. You want to know who this retard is that we just said his name? We'll tell you his name. Who serves as the liaison between Ibrahim Raisi, the dead president of the globalists, administration, and the country's seminaries. This guy didn't get this position because Raisi put him there. No, he got this position because Ayatollah Al-Khamenei, the cockroach that I showed you with the mask on his face, behind all the curtains. Yeah, that guy. That guy put him in this place. In other words, this guy is the representative of Raisi to all the clergymen in Iran, meaning anybody who's an imam, who's a mullah, who's a hujjatul Islam, who's an alim, who's a ayatollah al-uzama, who's a marja, whatever the hell they want to call themselves. All of them are under this guy. This is the head honcho for all of those guys, Every single one of them has to answer to this guy, and then this guy answers to Khamenei. Okay, big shot. He is like the number 2 guy in power when it comes to religious authority openly, as far as talking. But he's also just a spokesperson. Number 2 doesn't mean anything in Iran. You got to be number 1, and number 1 is Khamenei. Okay, number 2 can be replaced like that. He's only number 2 now. Okay, number 2, not in power. No. He doesn't have power. He's got number 2 position in a religious authority. Okay, he can't make up rules. He just got religious authority. In other words, he can walk around and ask people to kiss his ring. Kiss the ring. Kiss the ring. Come on, man. Kiss the ring. He wishes he had rings like mine too, by the way. He doesn't have that kind of technology. I do say technology because making rings is also technology. I mean, this guy doesn't have that power. And he doesn't even know where to start. I mean, there are people in Iran that can do a very good job, but he doesn't know who they are. And I can attest to that. I can guarantee you he doesn't know who they are. Okay. Back to this guy. He said on Thursday, same Thursday, everything happens on a Thursday. Have you noticed? I mean, it's like they're playing like a magic. Like the black magic. They got to do certain things on a certain day. Everyone's doing it on a Thursday. Every news I bring for you is a Thursday. Thursday was the day when the IRGC was talking. Thursday was the day when United Nations was holding their program. Thursday is the day when this retard is talking. Everybody's on Thursday. Everybody on Thursday. These Satan worshippers, they love Thursdays. He said on Thursday that a number of worrying admission. It's very worrying. It's very, very worrying. I mean, he can't sleep at night. He can't even shit right because he's so worried. I got to use these words because these are the type of words that you got to use to drive home the message. It's not up to me. I got to use the right words. Oh, man, he's so worrying for this guy. For a state built around principles of Islam. The state he's talking about is the Islamic Republic of Iran. He's not talking about Iran. He's talking about the Islamic Republic of Iran. His regime by a bunch of occupiers is called a state in his mind. It's a fake state built on the principle of Islam. Dulabi, who is also a member, listen to this, member of the Assembly of Experts Assembly of experts is made out of 12 ayatollahs who are referred to as the watchdogs. Like a dog? Watchdogs over the government of Iran. The only one they answer to is Khamenei. The watchdogs are the ones who give you the first check mark on the ballot, allowing you, after you nominate yourself for running for presidency, they give you the check mark that you are okay after they do their background check on you. And then if Khamenei doesn't like it, he can veto it. Let's put it this way. If you had all 90 million Iranians in Iran voting for you, that you should be the president, and one of these watchdogs, these 12 guys, decides, I don't like him, you're out. And if he even agrees with you that, yeah, you're good, and Khamenei says, I don't like him, you're out. That's how it works. So this guy is a member of that assembly. And they're not 12. There are 88 of them. So you got 88 like him. But he's the top one. Because he also accompanied the president here and there. He talks on behalf of the president when he feels like it. The president is nothing in front of this guy. Raisi was like a piece of shit for this guy. When he goes to the washroom and does number 2, then he looks at it, he waves to it and says, hi, Raisi, how are you? That's what this guy does. A deliberative body empowered to an appointed supreme leader. See? They listen to only Khamenei. Best part of his whole talk is this guy decided to give this speech to a bunch of Afghanis because not even one Iranian came to sit at his Friday prayers to listen to him cry and moan about 50,000 mosques closing in Iran. So he had to gather a bunch of Afghanis who've come over the border illegally into Iran, and he has to tell them how bad the Iranian people are, that they've left Islam. They're infidels now. They've become murtad, and they need to be killed, and they need to be slaughtered, and they need to be destroyed because they don't follow Islam. And Islam's law is to kill, and kill some more when you find someone who's not a Muslim anymore. He gave this whole entire talk, and then he ended it with the following. He says, I'm going to highlight it for you people. When people look at the output of the religion, they decide whether to enter the religion or leave the religion. Oh, the humiliation of the people by the religion, the falsification of the rulings and the concept of the teaching. I mean, the Afghanis are all Sunni. This guy is a Shia. So he's telling a bunch of Sunni Muslims that whatever the Shia Muslims have been teaching is fake. It's falsified. And that people have left us. We need to make this country Sunni again. Oh, they're dying to keep their Islamic Republic alive. They're dying. They're like a fish out of water, flapping away because they can't get any oxygen. Oh, they're dying. They're dying real bad. And he says that the policies have become worse since the death of Mahsa Amini. Mahsa Amini died almost a year ago. It hasn't even been a year. But then they got money. So, when Islam is dying, you can always throw some money at it to make it alive. But you can't give the money to the people. No, 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 no. You got to do buying of the face. You know, you have to make the face look good. So you pay companies in Europe and America like this one, DFRAC. Definitely. They go on Twitter and they post. They're going to fact check. I mean, this is a company outside of Iran made by a bunch of non-Muslims. And now all of a sudden they became experts on Islam. And they became experts on Iran. I mean, every Tom, Dick, and Harry, for some weird reason, thinks that they are in right of dictating what is Iran. I don't understand it. How someone is not from the country, has never lived in the country, doesn't know the traditions of the people, has never studied the history of the people, cannot speak the language of the people, never has talked to the people, apparently makes himself an expert on that country. Blows my mind, you know? But it always happens to Iran. It's like always happens to Iran. Everyone seems to know about it. They did their fact check on June the 7th, 2023. They came out with a fact check. The closure of the mosques is a matter which has nothing to do with religiosity of the people. I mean, according to these guys, all the Iranians are Muslim. I mean, all of them. They just don't go to the mosque, man. They don't go to the. You have to go as a Muslim. You got to go to the mosque on a daily basis, every day, every day, every day. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, not 5 times, but even more than 5 times. If you think I'm lying, you got 5 daily prayers. The Sunnis will do them at 5 separate times. The Shias will do the same 5 in 3 separate times. But then after the 5, you got your nightly prayers. And then you got your prayers between these 5 prayers. And you got to come to the mosque, because if you don't come to the mosque, you don't get as much good deeds as you would if you came to the mosque. So you got to come to the mosque. And then the Shia, they have Thursday night programs and they have Friday programs. But the Sunnis, they also have just the Friday programs. So you got to come to the mosque. So if you're religious, you're going to go to the mosque, not stay at home. So obviously, they started off showing you they know nothing about the religion. This is due to other reasons. Okay, tell us the reasons why 50,000 mosques got closed. The reasons include lack of infrastructure required for the accommodations of the imams. Let's take a look at that. Imams in Iran, when they are just a student learning, they're getting a full salary. Their salary is 10 times the salary of the average Iranian. The average. We're not talking about the poor. We're talking about the average. Okay? The ones who are supposed to be like middle income, like the people that they're supposed to be able to at least feed themselves with something, anything, whatever. Yeah, their income is 10, and they're student 10 times. When they become an imam, so this guy says, I mean, in Iran, they don't call them imams even. This idiot calls them imams. They don't even call them imams in Iran. They call them Hujjatul Islam. Okay? Imam in Iran means a really big guy. You don't have a really big guy going to every masjid, every mosque. They call Ayatollah Khamenei the imam. And there is only one of him. The number 1 guy became the imam. All these other ones don't get it. And this jackass writes this in Twitter and is calling the littlest clergymen imams. As if he's talking about like in the Sunni lands. You know, in the Sunni countries, Like anybody's an imam. You walk into the mosque and you're leading the prayer, you become an imam. The guy doesn't know the difference between Shia and Sunni and how they think. But all of a sudden, he's an expert. We have lots of these experts that don't know their pinky from their thumb. There is a lack of infrastructure required for the accommodations of the imam. Every single clergyman in Iran gets a house. Every single one of them. Free. Yeah. Get the keys. Yeah. All of them walk around bullying people around, showing the turban that they have on their head and the badge that they have. Yeah, if you don't give me a discount on this, I'm going to report you to the government. Shit, I got to give them that. Throwing their weight around, bullying everybody. They get whatever they want. What accommodations are you talking about? They got the best pay, the best cars, the best of everything. What you talking about? What accommodations? The richest people in Iran are the clergymen. Richer than everybody else. Look at Khamenei. You use the word imam, look at Khamenei. Khamenei's got enough money that he can buy and sell the richest Americans if he wants to. Lack of accommodations. Accommodations. He thinks the retard that wrote this, who's fact checking, this retard thinks that mosques in Iran are like churches in America, where you have a little room in the back so that if a traveling pastor is coming, he can go and stay in the bed, and you can cook him some food over there in the church, so you can take care of his meal and his place to sleep while he's going to give you a lecture. Yeah, they think that in Islam, you have something like that. I mean, when you read these kind of stuff and you know the country, you know the people, you understand the religion, you understand everything, you want to blow your brains out. You're like, what the heck is this? What are they talking about? Mosques are not built with a little room on the side so that you can go sleep in. That's a Western concept. In the Middle East, the mosque is a place where you go and you pray and you get the hell out. You don't stay there. You pray and you go. You don't come there and start playing Monopoly. In the West, yeah. Sunni country, sure. Sunni country. The guy sleeping there and the other guy is beside him praying. And the guy snores. That's in Saudi Arabia. Go to Saudi Arabia. Go to Pakistan. In Iran, that's not how it works. If you follow, they kick you out. They say, get out, get out, get out. Then he talks about lack of supervision of mosques from the center and local management. What center and local management? The city does not have any power over mosques. What management? The mosques are not chained together like the churches in the West. Each mosque is its own mosque. What management are you talking about? Are you talking about the guy who's going to be like the janitor of the mosque? Lack supervision. The guy doesn't understand what he's talking about. This retard, this monkey who wrote this, does not understand his left from his right, his hand from his foot. Lack the resources, lack the infrastructure. I'm in a country number 1 in gas. Now it's number 2 because they gave everything to Russia. Number 3 in oil. I mean, the guy is number 2 and number 3. And the two things that most countries, if you have one, you're rich. Look at Saudi, look at Dubai, look at Kuwait. They're just living off of oil. And the Kuwaitis don't have as much oil as Iran. The United Arab Emirates don't have as much oil as Iran. Look how rich they live. Qatar does not have as much oil as Iran. Qatar does not have as much natural gas as Iran. Look how rich they live. Are you telling me these guys don't have the money for the infrastructure? If you want to see the guy, that's him. That's Ayatollah Muhammad Abdul Qasim, whatever the hell his name is right here. Dulbandi, Dulabi, this guy. That's him. These are Afghanis. They're not Iranians. They're in Iran, but these are Afghanis. Look at the hat they're wearing on their head. Look at their darker skin. They're all Afghan. And this guy's an Arab. You got an Arab and a bunch of Afghanis in Iranian land talking crap about the Iranian people. You want to know how these guys are Afghanis? You want to know how I know they're Sunnis? Well, a Shia has a little piece of clay that they put on the ground. You see, right here, where they're all sitting, this is at a Friday prayer, which means this guy will give 2 sermons, and then he'll stand up on that carpet, and they will pray 2 rakats, which means like 2 times they stand up and go down and stand up and go down. Normally, there's 4 rakat for a Friday noon prayer, which is called Zohar. But on Friday, when you come, you get the sermon. So you get 2 sermons and 2 rakats. The 2 sermons equal the first 2 rakats. So this guy will do that. So right now he's giving his sermon. If these were Shias, they would have that little clay in front of them because that's where their forehead's going to touch. But Sunnis don't use those clays. So that means these are all Sunni. Now, the Sunnis in Iran, who are Iranian Sunnis, on a weekly basis for the last 4 years, after they pray, they go out and they have protests against the Islamic Republic of Iran because they don't believe in the Shia leadership. They want a Sunni leadership, which would mean if these were Iranians, they would never accept to sit and have him give them a lecture. Which means these are Sunnis, but they are not Iranians. I mean, look at this guy in the blue. He's giving them a face like, if I had a chance right now, I'd rip your head off. And he's sitting there telling them because he doesn't want them to kill him. He knows they want to kill him. So he's sitting there chastising the Iranians. Oh, those Shias, they're falsified. They teach falsified stuff. Oh, they don't go to the mosque. We're forced to close down 50,000 mosques. You know why they have to close down 50,000 mosques? It's because of programs like ours. We chastise Islam. We dismantle it. It's because of programs like Mehdi Mir Qaderi, who does it in Persian. It's like programs like Christian Prince. It's like Rob Christian. It's like Ahmad X Muslim. And many, many, many other channels that for many, 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 many years have been talking, have been attacking Islam, showing the truth of Islam from inside Islamic books, from the Quran, from the Hadith, from their own writings. We've exposed it. We've exposed it to the point where the people are leaving. It comes down from protests. where people can see their own family members being shot in the eye, shot in the forehead, shot in the temple, shot all over the place, raped, tortured, hanged, and they've seen it all. They've understood. These guys are not a religion to be followed. These guys are there to commit genocide on the Iranians. These guys are there to dismantle and destroy the Iranian land. People are learned. In Germany, there was a protest. There was a protest by a bunch of people. A lot of people showed up, actually. Protest against Islam because the Afghanis keep coming there and they keep on raping. 80% of the rapes happening in Germany today are done by Afghanis on German girls. And they want Sharia law everywhere. And the German leadership, their chancellors are all a bunch of globalists protecting Islam left, right, and center. So a 25-year-old Afghani who lived there from when he was a kid decided to enter the protest, pulled out a big knife, and started stabbing people. He ended up wounding 5 plus 1 police officer. He followed Islamic law very well, using the knife to stab the neck of people. Eventually, another police officer shot him dead. The main organizer of this protest was Michael Sturzenberg, who's an anti-Islamist activist, according to the news media. You know, you become an anti-Islamic activist if you tell the truth about Islam. If you show what's in the Quran and explain it to the people and tell what that is about, you become an anti-Islamic. You're not supposed to tell people what's in the Quran. It's a secret. You've got to find out for yourself. If you tell the hadith of the Prophet, which are the sayings of the Prophet, you're an anti-Islamic. You're not supposed to tell people what the Prophet said so they can understand what kind of monster he was. You're supposed to keep it quiet. You're supposed to make up lies, good lies. Say good stuff about him that don't exist, that never happened. Make up a story. As long as it's good, makes him look good, you're good. But if you tell the people what he said, you're anti-Islamic. Activist. Don't forget the activist. The people that were injured, the 5 men are 25-year-old, a 36-year-old, 42-year-old, 54-year-old. Here I have for you the pictures. That's the guy right there. That's the Afghani, and that's his knife. When he attacked people, the police officer was checking on the people that were attacked, see if they're alive, if they're good. Does he need to call an ambulance? What their condition is in. And as you can see, he gets stabbed in the neck. And the other police officer decides, now that you're killing the police, I have no choice. So he shot him dead. Right now, the 25-year-old Afghan is in hospital. They're trying to bring him back to life so they can give him a vacation into the prison where they can feed him 3 times a day, give him a TV so he can watch some German television. They're trying to take care of. They want to bring him back and put him in vacation. If it was up to me, I would say just bury the damn idiot. But no. This is Germany. The chancellor protects these Islamists. They're not the bad guy. You are the bad guy living in the West, not allowing Sharia law to take over the West. You think you should have a good life, a free life. No, you're supposed to live under Sharia law. Well, Muslim will kill Muslim because you didn't think like him. Here's the next link for you over here. This poor German police officer who got stabbed in the neck passed away. He passed away. He was 29 years old. He died on June the 2nd. He passed away. The German police came outside the hospital. They held a ceremony for him. And then we go to England. The English are finally waking up. Tommy Robinson had to fight in court for many, many years to try to get the right to have a protest. I mean, if you want to protest for free Palestine from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. You can do it as much as you want. I mean, bring all the LGBTQ with you and everybody else, and all the Antifa people, break and vandalize people's stuff. BLM will join you and they will give out the message. BLM Chicago is there, BLM this one is there. They have the gliders. You remember the gliding Palestinians who came in to go ta 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 ta? Yeah, they will come in with that. They put that sign on them. They're all the same terrorists at the end of the day. Why not? They will do all that. It's free. In England, it's free for the Muslims to pass a law in England, in London, England. We're talking about the capital city of all of England. In London, England, it is free for Muslims to make up their own law and pass their own law that a Jew is not allowed to walk out of his home onto the streets of London on Friday. They made a law. They made their own law. If you're a Jew and they catch you on Friday, the Muslims' holy day, in London, on the streets, that they will kill you. They made the law for themselves. That's okay. The policemen of England, they will look the other way, fold their arms too. No help out of them. But if you want to have a protest against this law, to save England from becoming England Ostend, then you have to go to court. Then you got to fight for it. Then you got to go through hoops and hoops and hoops and hoops, hoping that maybe one day you'll get your way. But Tommy Robinson did not stop. So he gathered a protest. He put on a nice protest. Almost nobody covered it. And those that did cover it, they tried to demonize him. He's the far left. He's a white supremacist all of a sudden. I mean, the guy is friends with a bunch of Pakistani restaurant owners. He goes to the restaurants. He eats foods with the Pakistani. I mean, the guy has friends of all kinds. But all of a sudden, I guess, I don't know what you call him, the Dragon Master or whatever it is in the KKK. That's the guy this guy, the dragon, and he's at the top. The guy is like, KKK come and sit down at his university now. All of a sudden. And they couldn't find anything but who the fuck is Allah, which was chanted. I mean, they were singing Sweet Caroline, dun, dun, dun. And they were doing all kind of stuff. But the only thing that the news media is fixated on is who the fuck is Allah? I will ask the same question. In fact, where the fuck is Allah? Apparently, he's not around. Because he's fake. He's a fake idol. I mean, the IDF has Allah underneath their shoe. They stomp all over. All these Muslims, 1 billion Muslim plus, every day they're all praying. Every day, in every prayer, they curse the Christian and the Jew. In the first verse that they recite is Surah Al-Fatiha. At the last portion of that, they curse us. They said, don't make us follow the wrong path like the Jews and the Christians and they keep going. They call us the Vali. They said that the Christians are the oppressors. Who are we oppressing? I mean, they run to our countries here. They're all coming to Europe. They're all coming to America. They're all coming to Australia. It's not like the Americans are running to go live in Saudi Arabia. Americans are not running to go live in Bangladesh. They're the ones that are coming over here. But we are the Walleens. Where is this Allah? They're all praying, cursing. IDF is winning. I mean, the Hamas, they're running after Rafah. And then where are they going to go after Rafah? Back to Egypt? Is that where they're running to? They're going to go live in Egypt? Where is this Allah to help them? There is no Allah. He's fake. And this went on and on and on. 4 hours of a march from street to street, people holding hands. They want to tell you that they were extremists. Here you see this big picture over here. You see all the people, and they keep going. I mean, they go down the street, continuously going down the street, down that side, down this side. Whites came, blacks came, Jews came, Iranians came, Indians came. There were Trump flags. I'm not joking. There were Trump flags in London, England. There was Irish flags. You had Scottish flags, Wales flags. You had England flags, Union Jack flags. Iranian, not the Islamic Republic, the real Iranian flag, this one, the lion and the sun flag. You had Israeli flags. But all the media saw is a bunch of white extremists. I mean, all those blacks, I guess they're the black face of whiteism. And I guess all those Jews are the Jew face of whiteism, right? And all those Indians and Pakistanis, I guess they're all the brown faces of whiteism, right? You know, that's what we have. Allow me to share with you the first video. I hope we don't have this problem again. We're going to have to do this in 2 parts. We had a problem, same problem we had in the first part. We'll make it into 2 parts for you. We'll make it into 2 parts because this is going to crash the program. So since it's going to crash the Zoom meeting, Zoom's playing games with us, YouTube's playing games with us. They don't like what we do because Zoom is Chinese. I'm going to close this, restart it, and we'll play the videos.